If you're watching this, you probably want to get into graphic design, but don't know where to start. And Illustrator can be a pretty daunting program, especially for a beginner. So I thought it would be cool to do a little tutorial. Now, I'm someone who learns the best by actually doing versus just watching. So if you want to follow along, feel free to. Today, we're going to be creating 3 different types of posters that I hope will teach you the fundamentals of Illustrator through shapes, type, and color. So let's get into it. Fun fact, I am re-recording this because the footage somehow got lost, which was super fun for me. So sorry if my appearance changes a couple times throughout the video. So right off the bat, we have to create our new file. So we're gonna press new file, and then what I like to do, since I usually design for Instagram, I like the dimensions of 1080 pixels by 1350 pixels. My color mode is in CMYK. We don't want that. We want it to be in RGB. RGB is for digital and screens and like online assets. It's really saturated, really vibrant, versus CMYK tends to be a little bit more desaturated just because printers usually can't print at that vibrancy. We're gonna keep this digital. I'm gonna do RGB 300 PPI, but it doesn't have to be that high if you don't want it to be. And yeah, okay, we're gonna create. We have a lovely little artboard over here. To pull up whatever toolbar you want, you go to Windows, Toolbar. Right now I have the advanced one, so you see like this little panel, these panels, I've kind of gotten really used to it, but you can play around with whatever toolbar you want. But yeah, let's get started. First, I'm going to type the physical word shapes, and to do that, we go to T, or we just press T on our keyboard, and it'll open up this little cursor, and I'm gonna type shapes. Now, I wanna make this bigger, so what I can do is I can highlight it, and then just like input a point if we want, a font size, or we can press the selection tool, or V, and when you hold down Shift and drag, it gets bigger proportionally. If you don't hold down Shift, it's gonna go like this or like this. We don't necessarily want that right now. So I'm gonna pick a little fun font. I really love Ono Casual right now, so I think I'm gonna go with this. You can play around with the weights if you want, so thin, regular, medium, bold. You can also change it here because it's a variable font, so you can actually do this, which I think is super, super sick. Ooh, you can't do this with a lot of fonts. It has to have the word variable in it. Let's just do the bold one. Okay, cool. We have shapes. Let's create a background. We have this rectangle tool right here, or shortcut M on your keyboard. And now I'm just going to basically make a rectangle. I like to make the rectangle a little bit bigger than the artboard just to ensure that it's gonna full bleed, like the whole background is gonna be pink. And I'm gonna go Object, Arrange, Send to Back, so that we can see our beautiful shapes in front. And what I like to do is I like to just lock this layer so that it doesn't move around. And how I do that is I press Command and 2, or you can go to Object and Lock as well. So I've already locked it, it won't move around. Now I already had a color pre-selected, but if you don't, you can just like pick a random color, press M, go like this. You can pick whatever color you want. There are so many colors. I'm gonna go back to my rectangle tool, and if you just hold down, you can actually make multiple shapes. Here's the ellipse tool, which is also L on your keyboard. If you just hit that, you can create a shape. Now I'm again gonna hold down Shift and drag as I'm doing this, and it's a beautiful circle. I wanna make it blue, so I'm gonna double click on my stroke and color, and then just make it like a cool blue color. So yeah, we've made our first shape ever. It's a circle. Let's do it again, but let's give the circle some spice. So I'm literally just gonna duplicate this, and what I do is I select it, I press down Option, and then I drag and I let go, and it's duplicated it. But you can also just like make another circle if you want. You can press Command C, Command F, and another one will be made as well. Multiple different ways to do things on Illustrator. Now we have our second circle. I'm going to go to Effect, Distort and Transform, and Zigzag. And cool, I can just change and give it some zigzags. You can change how many ridges you want. I think maybe like this is a good amount, and you can change kind of like the depth of the zigzag as well, which I think is super exciting. And you can also make it smooth or hard and cornered. But yeah, now we have this little badge shape, cute for stickers. I'm gonna change the color again, make it like a nice, this is a nice color, like an orange. So we have this zigzag spiky shape and we have this circle. And again, I'm just gonna show you one more time. We're gonna make another circle. Effect, distort and transform, zigzag, less ridges, a little bit deeper. So it's more of like a star shape. And there we have it. Another thing we can do is we can start again with another circle and then turn it into something fun like an arch. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the direct selection tool or shortcut A and then deleting half of the circle. And there are many ways to make an arch. You can make a square and a half circle and you can connect them together. You just have to make sure they're the same size. Or you could do it the way I'm about to show you, which is probably less efficient, but I'm just gonna take the pen tool, shortcut P, and I'm going to just draw a line. I'm holding shift again so that it snaps into place. And I'm going to do that with each section, like this, and it doesn't have to be perfect at the end, but what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna press Shift E, which activates the eraser tool right here. And then I'm gonna hold shift and just draw a straight line across, effectively just deleting that portion. And we have a cool little arch shape that we got going on. You can change how shapes overlap. You can just go to Object, Arrange, Send Backward, or you can just hold Command and then the brackets. The right bracket goes forward, the left bracket goes back. So again, I'm just gonna make another circle, but it's not gonna be perfect. I'm not holding down shift, it's more of like an oval. Doing this, and then we're gonna have fun. I'm gonna take the pen tool. I'm just gonna draw a little shape so it looks like a speech bubble, like so. Select both by holding and clicking shift to select both. And then I'm gonna press Shift M. And what that does is it brings up the shape builder. And this is a really cool tool that I really use a lot. You just drag both of them and just boom, now it's one shape. Super cool. I use this tool a lot. And we're just gonna make it like a nice red. Here is just the general shapes tool, so you can do stars as well, so you don't have to do it the way you distort and transform. So here we go, star. It's a star, but what's cool is you can hold down shift and the up and down arrows, and the more you press the up arrow, the more ridges come along, the more you press the down arrow, boom. So we can actually just make a triangle. And that is a pretty good foundation for shapes. I'm gonna just zhuzh things around a little bit. Now what I'm gonna do is add some little labels to them. I'm going to create a rectangle, and it's gonna be light, and it's gonna be similar to this little swatch I have right here. If you have something already, you can just press the eyedropper tool or I and click this, and it automatically just copies the properties, which is really cool, but I'm just gonna show you how to make this from scratch. So here we go. Again, I'm taking the rectangle tool or shortcut M, and I'm just dragging right here. And then I'm just gonna choose this nice like light blue color. And then I'm gonna double click on this right here, this stroke, the rectangle behind the fill. And I want it to be black. Sometimes it does this, it just turns white. You just gotta do it again. I want it to be black, and I'm gonna change the stroke weight to like maybe 2. So I'm gonna write zig zag. This font is more of a display font. I don't think it's super readable for like smaller body copy text, so I'm gonna change it to one of my favorite fonts right now, which is Obviously, and I think it'll be cool if it's like wide, just like this. Amazing, zigzag, and we're gonna do zigzag in parentheses silly. And I'm going to middle align this, so I'm gonna take my paragraph tool right here, press this to align the center, and now it's middle aligned. Now we're not done. I kind of want the label to be a little bit more rounded. So I'm clicking on it and these 4-corner little dots come up. And what you can do is you can just drag them in, and you can actually just change them one by selecting the direct selection tool and then like clicking. But in this case, I want all of them to be curved anyway. So I'm bringing them in like this. Now I'm duplicating this by clicking it, holding down Option, and then just dragging so it makes a copy. And then I'm just gonna like shorten this rectangle so that it fits silly a little bit better. And now I'm going to highlight both of these, pressing Shift M using our shape builder tool and then dragging it together. So there is our label. Okay, let's repeat this process. I'm going to title this one Speech Bubble, Helpful. And I want the same exact properties as this. So I want the same exact size of the font. So what I'm gonna do is I have this little text selected. I'm gonna press the eyedropper tool, which can be found right here, and then just click on this and it'll take on the same property, which is very helpful. I wanna tighten up the space between the lines. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to character and then change the leading. So I want it to be a little bit tighter. And another way you can do it is you can select all of your text with the T text tool and then press Option, and then up and down changes the leading to, which is a game changer. I think I'm gonna try doing actually just 2 rectangles and seeing where this takes me. I'm grouping it by selecting everything and then pressing Command G, or you can just go to Object and then Group, so that when you click on it, it's just one entity. I'm gonna continue doing this. Moving on to type. Starting another background, I'm using BN Rebox. Just fixing the kerning by highlighting everything and then pressing Option and the left and right arrow keys to go like further and closer together. But another way you can also do this is by simply outlining the type. So Object, Expand, press OK, and then Object, Ungroup, and now they're individual. So you can just kind of zhuzh it around to your liking. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I kind of want some sort of shadow. So how I'm gonna put a shadow is I'm gonna go and select the entire thing, go to Effect, Distort, Transform, and we're going to transform it. So as you can see here, I'm just gonna make like maybe 20 copies. Let's see how that feels. So I'm changing the horizontal axis as well as the vertical axis to change where your shadow goes. So here I'm just gonna do -1 pixels for horizontal and 1 pixel for vertical. Or maybe 2, let's see how that looks. Make sure your preview button is checked so you can always just see what it's like. Can we do half pixels? Oh, we can. By changing the amount of copies, you're changing like how long the shadow is. So if I go 30, it's gonna feel a little bit bigger. If I go 25, it's a little less. And then I'm gonna press OK because I like how it looks here. It does a blobby shadow and we don't want that. So I'm gonna take this entire thing, press Object, Expand, and let's see. There we go. So once we expand, we can isolate it by clicking the direct selection tool A here, and then I just like this green color, so I'm just gonna copy it over here. We want these posters to feel a little bit cohesive, so I'm gonna try to use the same colors across all 3. Obviously, this is the type poster, so we're just only gonna have words. I'm gonna say type is so cool, but really, sometimes you just need copy. I'm just gonna diversify the fonts a little bit. So we're gonna go back to the Oh No collection. I like this one, Oh No Blazeface, in the italic version. And then let's see what the S looks like. Just cool. Could there be a different S? Don't be afraid to change things up a little bit. you know? This is a capital S in Ducky, but I'm just gonna change the sizing, and I kind of like how this looks. So we're gonna go with this. And we're gonna change this to a nice blue. Okay, what I like to do is I like to, again, just kind of expand my fonts so that I can play with them a little bit more. This is one of my favorite tricks I'm going to do. Just have my object selected, and then I'm gonna go to Object, Path, Offset Path. And what this is gonna do, I have it set to 10 pixels here, but you can make it even smaller. You can do like -10, you can do 20, just to see what that looks like. It just gets really big, but I think 10 is kind of good right here. And now you have this kind of like outline, and then I'm just gonna change it. Now I kind of want these to feel together, so I'm sending this back, and I'm just gonna connect them. So again, Shift M for the Pathfinder, and we just have to make sure that this part is behind this part, and you're golden. Type is so. Now, because these are kind of scripty, I want to change it again just to even things out. So we're using BN Buns. I like how blocky this font is. I think it matches BN Reebok pretty well. And then I'm just gonna maybe add in like a little deeper of a shade. Effect, distort, transform, transform again. Maybe like 20 copies. Let's try this. And then we're going to expand this object again. Sometimes you have to expand it more than once. We should make this black. And then we're gonna make the front like a darker blue. And then we're gonna even it out with BN Reebok again, or BN Reeboks. And I just kind of want it to take up the whole space again. And this is where we introduce another really cool type tool that I use a lot. So with this selected, I'm going to go to Effect and then Warp. And this opens up a whole bucket of really cool tools to use. Here we have Arc Lower, Arc Upper, which I really like and I think will fit really well into this poster. You can arch it, you can bulge it, you can do so many cool things. And you can change the way it bends. So yeah, there's a lot of fun things you can do here. But for now, let's just stick to Arc Upper, keep these guys like normal, and then just change how dramatic we want this bend to be. So I think this feels pretty good. Make it a nice red. Add a little exclamation point to it. And yeah, now I feel like it's missing a little bit of something. I'm just gonna make it black, and then let's add a shadow to it. -1, cool, see how that goes. Object, expand, and here we go. Let's just make this part a nice red. Effect. Let's just try. I love that. This is too much though, so let's try again. Let's see if we can fix it from the appearance bar. Here we go, window appearance, and then radial blur. So I'm just going to double click on this and then just lessen the amount a little because 10 was a lot. Try 5? Maybe try even less. Cool, this feels good. I'm gonna teach you one more tool. It's called Type on a Path. We're gonna make a little oval right here, like a little sticker. And what I like to do is I'm gonna make a circle. It should honestly kind of be similar to this. And then I'm going to click on the type tool, but it's gonna be Type on a Path. And then I have this kind of like line that I want my text to follow. You see how the cursor switches between an arrow and this? So I'm just gonna press it. This is really big, so I'm gonna change that. And I'm gonna say crazy. And then duplicating this again, just selecting it, pressing Option, and then dragging to make another copy. I'm gonna twist it around by just using this little arrow tool pops up. I'm just rotating it and then taking this little thing right here and then just flipping it up. Crazy, right? Okay, again, this is a little too big. So I'm just gonna stretch out this. I made the shape a little bigger and then just changing up the font size. And that is Type on a Path. Super useful. Obviously there's definitely like a more precise way to do this, but you know what? I think when you're learning, this will get you far enough. And there we go. You can make sure everything is kind of middle aligned. That's Type. This last one is called Colors. Interesting. Sometimes fonts come with different like swashes. So if you just highlight a word, they're just different options, which I appreciate. Not every time, but just sometimes. So we're gonna change that there. What I just did was I literally just highlighted the S and then this popped up here. But I think you can go to Type and then Glyphs, and then the glyphs will pop up. So then you can kind of select the different S's available to you. I'm making an ellipse, and then I am going to press the period on the keyboard, and it'll bring up this little gradient chart right here. There are many different ways to create a gradient, and one of them is just this little linear gradient. So I'm just gonna click on this white, and then this is gonna pop up. So let's see, you can also just use the eyedropper tool right here to pick from existing colors. And so I picked this blue, and you can see here, the blue comes up, but we're gonna change this here. And then you can change the kind of like angle at which your gradient goes, which is kind of fun. See this diamond thing? You can just kind of drag it and you'll change how much of each color goes in the gradient. So if you want more light blue, you just do it here. If you want more dark blue, you drag it up. And then you can add more than just 2 colors to a gradient by going to this bar, and then you see the arrow with the plus sign. You just wait until that shows up and then click, and it adds another color. So you can change the color here, make sure this circle is selected, and then just like choose a different color. So here you go, you can make it like a crazy little gradient. Like so. There are no rules. That is the general idea. So we'll just do like multiple circles just to kind of show this. So that was a linear gradient. Let's do a radial gradient now. And radial gradients, as you can see, they come out in like circles. I want it to be like a green turquoise. The last type of gradient, which is my personal favorite, is the freeform gradient. What I love about this one is you really have full control over how it looks. So what you do is you just like select a bunch of these anchor points and then change the color however you want. You can move them around like so. Really cool. Yeah, that's kind of the gist. So you have this really cool, interesting looking gradient. But there is a bonus way to make a gradient, and I really love using this tool as well. So again, we're just gonna start from scratch, and what I'm gonna do is the mesh gradient tool, shortcut U. So what happens here is you kind of set up lines for yourself, to change the colors, and what I'm doing is I'm starting with one little intersection here, selecting a color. You just kind of have to trust the process a little bit, but little by little, you can make a really cool gradient this way. Again, just like adding to things, like so. So I made this, and there are actually a lot of intersections. You can probably simplify it by making one without as many. So again, let's just start over. Let's just do like 1, 2, like this. Because you have to get all intersection points, and it gets tricky. Okay, and here comes the fun part. You have your color selected, and then you can just kind of drag things around, and it'll create like really cool shapes. You can make lines a little bit more distinct. You can change the color so that you can kind of see it a little bit more obviously. You can add more little intersection points, like right here. So it can even start looking like a marble. So yeah, really up to you. You just kind of want to make sure things start to blend in a little bit more. Hey guys, Editing Cat here. So I played around with the third gradient a little bit more, and then I pretty much did the exact same thing for the next 2 rows, just with different colors like pinks and greens. So exact same gradients, exact same process. I just couldn't bring myself to refilm this portion again. It just took so long the first time around. I'm so sorry, I hope you can forgive me. Anyway, this is the final. I'm pretty proud of it. I think it looks pretty good. Let me know if you end up recreating it, DM me or tag me or whatever. Enjoy my outro. So that's it. We're done. That's the tutorial. I hope this gave you a good grasp of the fundamentals of Illustrator. Let me know if you like these types of videos, if you want more design with me's. But anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.